Begins a video on test section 134420 on US Highway 17 in northbound lanes just south of Richmond Hill, Georgia, north of Midway in Bryan County. Unlike the other soil cement base test sections we have, this one's got some distress in it. All but just a little bit of it is low severity. If such as this is hard to see, you have to get up real close to it. Most of these cracks that I'm going to be showing a little later on are hairline in terms of width, with one exception, there being some moderate severity longitudinal cracking. One thing, and I'll go ahead and talk as I walk, I don't have any gum to try to chew, but that would be fun, I guess. One thing interesting we have here, and something to comment on in a couple weeks at the Distress Survey School, is that we have a case here where we've got, if you go by the definitions in the Distress ID manual, and I think you should in a case like this, then what we have is a lot of low severity longitudinal and transverse cracking. Now, this is the beginning stages of block cracking, which is a typical type of distress associated with soil cement based pavements. But it's not to the case yet where these blocks are defined. So I don't feel at this time that you can define it as block cracking with a few exceptions. That's going to be something interesting to discuss, just to see how we define that in a general case, how we approach it when we come upon situations like this where we do have a hydraulic bound base with an asphalt concrete surface. What do we call the cracks that develop when they start in their formative stages? Later on, we know that these are going to develop into block cracks. That's just the way things go with this type of pavement. I'll show what I'm talking about a little bit more closely as we go back working towards the traffic in the test section. That's one thing to show here. There's some of our, this is the only medium severity distress that we have out here, and that's medium severity longitudinal cracking in the outside wheel path. Associated with it is some low severity raveling. One might take a hint that those things happen to be related right there, and I think they are. Test section, looking back upon it, again, just from a large scale perspective like this, you really can't see any distress. You have to focus down in on it, and it depends upon the angle of lighting you have and so on. We're close to noon here right now, and so we've got the sun coming from a pretty high angle, and it's hard to take advantage of angles of light in doing this. It's kind of a hazy day out here, about 80 degrees, just southwest, I should say, of Savannah, Georgia. One other thing is, just as with the other soil cement based sections here in Georgia, a 4-foot wide paved asphalt shoulder has been added. Jumped just then because I had the whistle blown telling me there is some traffic on its way. We'll do what we can.